fact that the fastest way to kill something special is to compare it to something else. The fastest way to kill something special is to compare it to somebody else. This might be a little bit TMI, but when I was a young man in high school and that kind of thing, I would compare myself to my three brothers all the time. Okay, maybe this one was a little smarter, this one was a little more athletic, this one had a little bit more charisma, and what it really kept me from, it was kind of sad, it kept me from enjoying who God made me to be. I always kind of felt down about myself. I always felt bad that I wasn't like this or wasn't like that, and then I would have other friends that I would compare myself to and never felt like quite enough. And I learned the lesson then, but I've been learning it ever since, that when I focus on what other people are and I feel bad about what I'm not, I miss who I'm supposed to be. I miss the special things that God put inside of me that he wants to use. And I want to submit to you that you're the same way. When we get our eyes off of what's fantastic about how God made us and we just get our eyes onto everybody else, we really miss God's best for us. See, comparison is the death of contentment. You can give me some shouts and amens today, just so you know. I know it's a little quiet, but feel free to lean into that. Comparison is the death of contentment. I mean, I'm super content until I see so-and-so. And then I see what they're doing, and I'm like, oh, I think maybe I should be doing that. Now I feel a little bit worse about myself. The fastest way to kill something special is to compare it to something else. And my friends, you know this. It's never been easier in the history of the world to compare ourselves to other people. Now, to be fair, it's always been a temptation for humans to compare. It's always been a temptation for humans to envy. But since the dawn of social media, now we have like the crack cocaine version. Because now, well, like we're just looking around, okay? And you're looking at this person, and you're looking at this person. We're swiping up and down and seeing what everybody's doing. And we feel real good about ourselves until we see them, okay? So I felt really great about my staycation till I saw your vacation in the Bahamas, right? I felt pretty good about some of the food that I was eating until I see the stuff that you eat, hashtag clean living, right? I feel real great about my marriage. We've been through some challenges, but we got through. But then I see Schmoopy 1 and Schmoopy 2 who are like married for 20 years and all their posts are of them kissing and holding hands on the beach. And I'm like, I guess I can't really keep up. Maybe you felt great about your dating life. You're like, no, it's going pretty good. And then you see sister so-and-so and she's posting these 5 different romantic dates and you're looking down at your empty bottle of Ben and Jerry's and you're like, man, now I'm coveting because I thought I was doing okay, and now it turns out that I'm not. Maybe for you, like you felt really great about your kid, like, man, they're walking at 12 months, hallelujah. And then you look across the street, you see their social media account, and their little 10-month-old is riding a bike already, and you're like, I can't win, man. No matter what we're doing right, somebody else is doing better than we are. Someone is doing it better. Someone is doing it more skilled. Maybe you felt so great about, man, your brand new house. It's a little modest, but you're really loving it. And then you see your cousin who, they just moved into a house that looks like it was designed by Chip and Joanna Gaines. And now you have no peace. Now you have no contentment because nobody can just be happy with what we have because we see everybody else in the world and what they're doing. I think this wasn't even really a problem that much, at least for me. I grew up in an era before social media. And so, dude, we just didn't know what everyone was doing. You kind of knew maybe a little bit. You knew some classmates. You knew, somebody somewhere. You'd hear about it. Maybe years later you see the pictures or whatever. But now you see it up to the minute. You know exactly what everybody's doing and how much better it is than what you're doing. And it can create feelings of envy, of comparison, of jealousy. And here's what we find out. We always just want a little bit more. So Pastor Andy Stanley, he's a better pastor than I am, and he preached this message called The Land of Ur. And what he talks about in this message on envy, and he says, everybody's really satisfied with what they have if they just had a little more, if they just had that okay? So man, I like that you're nice. I just want to be a little bit nicer. I like that you're skinny. I just want to be a little skinnier than you. Because if I'm skinnier than you, I feel better about myself. I want to go, I'm glad that you go to those nice places. If I could just go to a few better places than you are, then I'd finally feel good about myself. Man, I love that you've got a great relationship. I just want my relationship to be better than yours. I want to be smarter than you. I want to be more faster than you. I want to have a bigger church than you. I want to be a part of better parties than you. I want to go better places than you will go. We're all in the land of Am I the only one being honest here today? Like, anyone else struggle with it? Y'all are real quiet. You're like, man, this poor pastor. Yeah, he really struggles. Hey, what about the rest of us, man? I mean, some of you, like, you don't want to just be funny. You want to be funnier. You don't want to just be a hipster. You want to be a hipsterer than the other hipsters in your hipster circle. My friends, and some of us are so jacked up, like we're not even content with we want est. Okay, so I'm not really gonna be happy. That's great that you're but I wanna be est. I wanna be the happy est. I wanna be the great est. I wanna be the healthy est. I wanna have the best job. I want, you can do whatever you're gonna do as long as I'm just a little bit better than you, then I can feel better about myself. Then I don't have to think that anything's wrong with me. I'm glad that you got retweeted, but I wanna be the retweeted est person that anyone's ever known. Like, that's what I want to do. And what are we doing? We're looking back and forth. We're scrolling up and down. And we've got this thing called obsessive comparison disorder. We're all comparing to one another. I can't really feel okay. And that's the question we're asking ourselves often when we're looking at other people's stuff. If it's online or even in person, we're like, well, that's what they're doing. Am I okay? Like, that's how their marriage goes. Is my marriage okay? That's how their kids are. Are my kids okay? Hey, that's what their organization can do. Is my organization okay? Hey, that's what their team does. Is my team okay? This is the kind of grades they're getting. Are my grades okay? And we're always just asking, am I okay? Like, compared to everybody else, how am I doing? And you might say, Carter, I'm not even on social media, so this isn't relevant to me. You might not have the crack cocaine version, but my friends, we all do this, okay? It's human to envy. It's human to look around at your peer group and measure yourself and measure how you're doing compared to everybody else. And where we get really jacked up is when we begin to our kids, okay? You wanna mess up a kid? Start holding them accountable to be smarter and athletic-er and skinny-er. All the ers that you kind of want them to be and you just randomly picked for them, man, that'll mess us up. Or maybe, you realize a little bit too late, okay, now I finally have that boyfriend. Now I finally have that girlfriend. Now I finally have that spouse, and I'm starting to them. Like, they were really good at first, but then I saw some other people online. I saw what they were doing. I kind of learned some of their failures and some of the places they're not all that. I'm like, man, I wish that you were a little bit smarter or godlier or spiritualer or healthier, whatever that you wish they were, that you picked for them. Now you're a little bit dissatisfied. Now you're comparing everything. You got that OCD for people in your life. And of course it's driving them bananas. And nobody has any peace in the house because everybody wants something that they don't have instead of just enjoying what they do have. Can I get a witness from anybody? Here's what it does, man. See, comparison is the death of contentment. I was fine. I was content. And still I started to see everybody else, and it steals our joy. It steals all the happiness that we could have, that we should have, that is ours to have, because it steals from us. And it heightens our insecurities. We just begin to question, I guess I'm not good then. I guess I made all the stupid decisions. I guess I made the wrong turn here because they've got that and they've got that and I don't have that. And so that means I'm bad. See, some of us, we graduate from not just wishing we had better, we start to persecute ourselves because we're not enough. And so we embrace this like self-hate thing where we're saying, man, you really jacked that up, didn't you? And now you'll never be a part of those parties. You'll never get into those restaurants. You'll never be a part of those kinds of schools because you just don't measure up. You don't have enough. And we begin to pile loathing and hatred on ourselves because of what we're not. You're not skinny like she is. You don't have that kind of body type. You don't have access to those kinds of resources. You can't wave your wand and suddenly all these great things happen. # blessed life. Like, you don't get all that stuff. And so now you're like mad at yourself. Now you're stewing on this thing. And my friends, it leads to this doom loop of failure. And all it does is reinforcing everything that's wrong with us instead of enjoying what's great about life.